Hey, what's up, and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today we are bringing it back to our Rambo marathon of films with Rambo, the only film in the entire franchise not to have a subtitle. It's just Rambo. Now, I sort of remember seeing the advertisements to this film. It was cool, it was edgy, it made me want to do basically what I'm doing right now and just go back and watch all the Rambo films, but for whatever reason, I didn't. But what is the fourth Rambo film all about? Well, let's pack our panniers and find out. This review is brought to you by the word of the day, pannier, a large storage basket made to be slung over the back of a pack animal or bicycle. For the fourth time in his life, or at least the fourth time that we've seen it, Rambo is caught between the difficult decision of living for nothing or dying for something when he helps a group of doctors find their way into the war-saturated country of Burma to aid the many injured. They are soon captured by Burmese pirates who are just on a massive genocidal mission to kill everybody that moves, and it's up to Rambo to rescue them. The army is there to help too, but he knows that when the time comes, they would rather save themselves than to risk their own lives to save those in need. Right off the bat, I will say that I enjoyed this movie. It once again does something really impressive of me, and it keeps things modern and relevant. It's not just a mindless action film without any heart, because each one of these films has a ton of heart. They all mean something, and honestly, a lot of action films these days don't. Stallone decided to look for the largest catastrophe that was actually happening in 2008, but wasn't highly covered by the media, and it's sometimes wild that the news doesn't cover things like this. In the same year, the TV show 24 made a made-for-TV film called 24 Redemption, where Jack Bauer was also in a third world country with boys being forced into war, women getting raped, and an all-around genocide happening, and he basically had to do what Rambo does in this film, but trust me, Rambo does it better. As much of a fan that I am of 24, it just wasn't worth it, while this one mostly was. Because what I also wanted to see from this film was a sense of finality. This film came out 20 years after the third film, and I'm guessing because of the singular Rambo title, it was also planned to be a final film. And I'd have to say I'd be happy with this film if it were the final one. I didn't feel like that with the third one, but this really did have that overall sensation. Yes, there is another film, and I will see that next week, but as it is, they did a very good job closing a certain chapter in Rambo's life. Now, this is hardly the best Rambo film. It's a lot of fun. It has a lot of strong messages, but a good chunk of the film is simply everything that we've already seen before. They continue trying to make this more and more personal for Rambo by changing up the faces of the POWs. I mean, I'm sure it's kind of difficult to call these doctors prisoners of war, but at the end of the day, that's exactly what they are. They are prisoners of this genocidal war which Rambo has to rescue. And we know he can do it because we've seen him do it twice before. It's the same exact thing. It's the same film as 2 and 3, just dressed up in something more modern with less of an 80s vibe. Also, out of the second, third, and fourth film, the only POW I've ever really cared about was General Troutman in Rambo 3. I feel like I'd care more about these doctors if they weren't only in the film for 20 minutes before getting captured. Troutman was in his third film by the time he got captured, and that made it very personal. These doctors, I didn't care that much about them, and their acting range also mostly mediocre. Rambo was doing his thing mostly because the doctors were good-hearted individuals who didn't deserve to be killed, but this one, I didn't feel his personal stakes so much. Also, there was something going on with the editing that I wasn't a big fan of. A lot of quickly edited shots of the action that I couldn't always understand what was happening, and a lot of improper use of the crossfade transition. Look, when you are an amateur, a normal person at home just using Windows Movie Maker or iMovie or something basic to that degree, a transition we almost always use is crossfade. But actual cinematic film editors know that crossfades thematically mean something. They have a purpose. Typically, a crossfade is used to signal the audience that some amount of undetermined time has passed. Day to night is a big one, or maybe our hero's in one spot, crossfade to another location where he shows up. He didn't just walk off set and show up at the next spot. No, hours could have potentially passed. That's the purpose behind a crossfade. Rambo 4 used multiple crossfades within single settings. So let's say Rambo's in the jungle in region B. It crossfades from him to another soldier, back to him in the middle of a conversation, and it really caught me off guard because that's not how they should be used, so my editing score actually got a 0. I also have some minor gripes here and there, like some acting that I didn't especially like. I didn't think there was enough action. I mean, there was a lot of action, but it's pretty much split into 2 sequences of action, and it takes a while while to actually get started. And not only that, but Rambo uses a lot of guns in this, he kills from afar, and he hardly ever fights anybody one-on-one. Also, some direction choices weren't for me. I know Stallone directed it, but nothing about his directing style popped out as me as unique or stand out. What the film did have, however, was a lot of powerful speeches. Just like Rambo 3, I feel like the delivery of certain lines and dialogue is what makes Rambo 4 work when it does. But what did I score this film? 70%, 70 out of 100 possible stars, granting it the letter grade of C-. If you're wondering where I rank this in my Rambo marathon of films, it's currently in 3rd place, above First Blood and under First Blood Part 2. Yes, I actually have First Blood in last place right now. And that has less to do with being a good movie as it does about feeling like Rambo. 2 to 4 feels like I always imagined Rambo would feel like, and First Blood just didn't, and that's simply why they're above First Blood. This could all change, of course, when I see Last Blood next week, but we'll see. Stick around for that. Guys, let me know what you thought of this 2008 film, Rambo, in the comments down below. As for YouTube, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button if you like this review, would like to see some more. Like it, hit the thumbs up button because that always helps out my channel. And don't forget about the little bell icon because that helps notify you when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out!